Good evening, you're watching Just the News. I'm Amita Balachandra. We start off with our top story today. Kerala has reported India's third case of monkeypox. The two previous cases were also reported from Kerala. Now, Kerala Health Minister Veena George has said, and I quote, the 35-year-old patient came from UAE to Malappuram on July 6th. He developed fever on July 13th and later developed symptoms of monkeypox on the 15th of July. The patient is under treatment. She also went on to say that his condition is stable. In the previous two cases as well, they had come from the UAE. Now, according to the WHO, monkeypox is a viral zoonotic infection caused by the monkeypox virus. These are the common symptoms of monkeypox. So the symptoms are muscle aches, headache, fever, low energy, chickenpox like rash, etc. Now, over 60 countries have reported monkeypox cases, with Europe being the worst affected. An update on COVID cases in the country. India has reported 21,880 new COVID cases and 60 related deaths in the last 24 hours. The active caseload is now over 1.49 lakh, and most of these cases are being reported from Maharashtra, Kerala and Tamil Nadu. Meanwhile, in Karnataka, in a relief to former Karnataka Chief Minister B.S. Yediyurappa, the Supreme Court today put on hold criminal proceedings in a corruption case against him. Now, the Karnataka High Court earlier had refused to cancel an FIR registered against Mr. Yediyurappa in a land allotment scam. He is accused of releasing acres of land acquired by the state government and illegally allotting the land to entrepreneurs in 2006-2007 when he was the Deputy Chief Minister of Karnataka. The FIR was registered in 2013 after a police complaint against him. Meanwhile, in Delhi, after Delhi Lieutenant Governor Vinay Kumar Saxena recommended a probe by the CBI into the Delhi government's new excise policy, Delhi Chief Minister has criticized the centre, alleging that leaders from his party were being framed in false cases. Now, NDTV reported that the LG has accused Deputy Chief Minister of Delhi, Sisodia, of procedural lapses and of giving undue benefits to liquor licenses. Now, Mr. Sisodia heads the excise department of the Delhi government. Delhi Minister Satyendra Jain, in the meantime, if you remember, is also in judicial custody since 13th of June. He's accused in a money laundering case as well. Meanwhile, in Uttar Pradesh, parts of the Bundelkhand Expressway in Uttar Pradesh has caved in after rains on Thursday, but this is incidentally just 1 week after its inauguration by the Prime Minister. The 296-kilometer expressway was inaugurated on the 16th of July. Taking to Twitter, BJP MP Varun Gandhi has raised questions about the quality of the construction work done and has said, and I quote, if the expressway built at a cost of 15,000 crore rupees cannot withstand even 5 days of rain, then serious questions rise on its quality. The head of the project, the engineer concerned and responsible companies should be summoned and action be taken against them, end quote. An update on the case where a disabled passenger was not allowed to board on a Ranchi, Hyderabad flight by Indigo. The DGCA, and this is according to PTI, has said that airlines must not prevent passengers with disability or reduced mobility from boarding a flight without consulting a doctor. So there are a couple of rules that the DGCA has set out. It said that the regulations are now amended, and it said that if an airline decides to prevent a disabled passenger from boarding a flight, it has to inform the passenger about it in writing, along with giving reasons of why the airline is doing so. This comes after an incident where Indigo staff members did not allow a boy with special needs to board a Ranchi Hyderabad flight, claiming that he was, and I quote, this is what the airline had said, he was uncontrollable and in a state of panic, end quote. The incident, of course, was reported in May. Also in the news, the Supreme Court today directed the centre to continue providing security cover to Reliance Industries chairperson Mukesh Ambani and his family. Now, Mr. Ambani and his family members are provided with Z Plus security cover. under which 58 personnel at the Central Reserve Police Force guard them round the clock. Now, his security level was upgraded in 2013. The Supreme Court has said that High Court should not entertain the public interest litigation, as the Ambani family had been paying for the security provided by the union government. Meanwhile, the UK and India have signed a memorandum of understanding officially recognizing each other's higher educational qualifications. Now, this essentially will pave way for greater mobility for Indian students to take up postgraduate courses in Britain. Now, it also means that Indian senior secondary school or pre-university certificates will be accepted for entry to Britain's higher educational institutions, while UK's A-levels and their equivalents and undergraduate and postgraduate degrees will also be recognized in India. An update on what's going on in the Parliament. Lok Sabha today passed the Indian Antarctic Bill 2022, which seeks to extend the application of domestic laws to research stations set up by India in the Antarctic region. Now, this is the first bill that's been passed this session in the Lok Sabha. This comes amid protests by opposition against price rise and other things as well. On to business news right now. RBI Governor Shaktikanta has said that the RBI will continue to engage with the foreign exchange market to ensure that the rupee finds its level. Now, this incidentally comes even as the rupee hit an all-time low of 80 rupees against the US dollar. In a conference, the governor said, and I quote, "I would like to reiterate that we have no particular level of the rupee in mind, but we would like to ensure its orderly evolution, and we have zero tolerance for volatile and bumpy movements," end quote. Moving on, the Rakesh Jhunjhunwala backed Akasa Air will launch its first commercial flight on the 7th of August by operating its first service on the Mumbai-Ahmedabad route using a Boeing 737 MAX plane. Now, in a statement, Akasa Air has said that it has begun sale of tickets on 28 flights that will operate weekly on the Mumbai-Ahmedabad route from August 7th, as well as 28 flights on the Bengaluru-Kochi route from August 13th. Moving on to news coming in from across the globe, starting off with Sri Lanka. Security forces in Sri Lanka raided the main anti-government protest camp in the capital early on Friday, and they arrested protesters and dismantled tents as well. BBC reported that a video journalist was allegedly beaten up at the army and by the army, I beg your pardon, and one soldier snatched his phone and deleted videos as well. Hundreds of troops and police commandos moved on the protesters outside the presidential offices in Colombo hours before they were due to leave the area. And all of this, even as the new Prime Minister of Sri Lanka, Dinesh Gunawardene, was sworn in today. BBC also reported that tensions continued to simmer even as this happened. 9 people were arrested and over 50 of them were injured. One piece of good news before we wrap things up here on this bulletin. Neeraj Chopra and Rohit Yadav have qualified for the men's javelin throw final at the World Athletics Championships 2022. Now, with this, 2 Indians will feature in the men's javelin throw final for the first time in history. Now, Chopra qualified with a best throw of 88.39 meters, while Yadav qualified with a best throw of 80.42 meters. The finals will be held on Sunday morning. That brings us to the end of this bulletin. Thank you so much for watching. Good night.